Hi pension subscribers and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dominic James Murray, pension transfer specialist here at Cameron James. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing the top 3 things to never do with your defined benefit or final salary pension transfer. If you'd like to have a conversation about your final salary scheme with myself personally, you can book in below via the description using my calendar link. You'll see there to pick the day and the time that's most suitable for yourself. You'll receive a due diligence email and obviously your appointment will be confirmed. You can also use the WhatsApp button in the description below to start a more informal conversation. We can have a quick chat there before booking in for your free initial consultation. Okay, so moving on very fast to my number 1 rule for final salary pension transfers. Never work with a provider or an underlying platform which has exit penalties attached once your final salary money transfer has been completed. Why? Well, where I come from in the industry, I started in the industry 11 years ago. I've worked for many advisory firms, some of which were not the best advisory firms in the entire world. I know exactly how commission works on underlying platforms, bonds, wrappers, funds. If someone ties you in an exit penalty, 99 times out of 100, this means because on day 1 or somewhere in between the middle of the advice process, someone has been paid a commission somewhere, and whoever the provider they've placed your business with is not stupid. They're not going to allow you to walk away after day 1 if they've already paid someone else a commission. They need to earn their money back in order to repay themselves the money they already paid out to the IFA normally. So really, anything to do with an exit penalty, I would always run a mile. In the offshore market, this is very, very common. A lot of the bond providers, the big offshore bond providers, will offer the financial advisor an enhanced rate of commission with a longer term exit penalty, meaning they get more commission on day 1. The problem with this is, unless your financial advisor is a fantastic person and they will service you no matter what happens through thick and thin, that doesn't often happen though. Maybe they move home, they move to the UK, their partner doesn't like the country they live in, they move back and you no longer have a financial advisor, but you've already paid them 6, 7, 8% commission without realizing it. You're now stuck in a platform or a provider for 8 to 10 years with no option of leaving. It's a little bit like you wouldn't walk into the cinema and saying you have no choice but to watch this entire movie and you cannot leave. You wouldn't go to a theme park for the day and say you have to be here for 14 hours and you cannot leave. People like freedom. Why anyone would take away their freedom with their UK pension is completely and utterly beyond me. So really try to avoid exit penalties at all costs. Just a caveat, one small thing is that SIP providers may have an exit penalty of say 200, 300 or 500 pounds within the first 1 year of the SIP. This is because they don't want you transferring in all the hard work they do. They maybe charge you nothing on the way in, then you transfer out within straight away. They have that there to act as a deterrent from you going in and out of the scheme or pension washing the final salary scheme. In the United Kingdom, exit penalties are few and far between now. However, there are certain advisory firms such as St James's Place that have a 6-year exit penalty in the first year, or 6% exit penalty within year 1 of their pension. Now, people can run their businesses how they want to. Here at Cameron James, we don't think that having exit penalties is the correct thing to do. You should show your clients you have a good level of service and they will stick with you over the long term without being tied in. If you're tied in or you have a 6% exit penalty, it effectively means that you don't really want to lose that 6%, so you'll just continue taking whatever the advice is. Whether the advice is good, bad, ugly, you don't really have much of a choice without taking a huge financial hit in order to get out of that scheme. So I would say keep your freedom, avoid exit penalties at all costs, and always ask your financial advisor very clearly what exit penalties are attached to the solution or advice that you're giving me. What happens if I don't like you and I want to move away? Here at Cameron James, clients have the freedom to talk with their feet. It ensures that we stay up to date, we continue providing good level of service because we want to keep our ongoing annual management charges, so to speak. The next point that I would say in terms of final salary pension transfers, number 2 thing to not do is don't mess around with your cash equivalent transfer values. My manager can put a link up to a couple of videos I've done here about CETVs and messing around with them. The biggest problem we have, currently speaking at Cameron James, is clients who go off and DIY their CETVs. They contact the scheme, they get the paperwork, well they think they've got the paperwork. They then come to us and say, oh, I've got all my CETVs, I've got 10 weeks left because you have a 3-month period with your cash equivalent transfer. I've got 10 weeks left. go and do the advice report. We start going through their paperwork and say, okay, either whole parts of the paperwork is missing, like you don't have a CETV, all you have is some paperwork saying they sent you one, where's the CETV? The client doesn't know, it goes round in a massive problem. Even clients who have the CETV, on average, 12 pieces of data are missing from that CETV. What are the revaluation rates, escalation rates, so much information we need from your seeding scheme to put your advice report together. If you give us all that information on week 10, we then submit your LOA. It can take up to 10 to 15 days for the LOA to be on file. So that's 2 weeks gone already. You're then down to 8 weeks left on your CETVs. We then say to them, oh, you've missed off a range of different factors. Can we please have this? They'll say, yeah, our standard working turnaround time is 20 working days. That's another 4 weeks gone. So you've gone from 3 months, you're now to 4 weeks left on your cash equivalent transfer value. At Cameron James, in all of our areas, UK, Europe and America, we have to submit all information for the DB report at a minimum of 28 days before the expiry date of this CETV. Otherwise, you have to start paying additional premiums to the PTS teams in order for them to get it done quickly. So when you come to us in 10 weeks and you don't have all the correct information, it can actually wind up getting to 30 days, 29 days before your CETVs. Sometimes we have to submit stuff to report writers and saying, we don't have this piece of information. We requested it from Mercer, we requested it from Capita, we requested it from Towers Willis Watson 25 days ago and they've not produced the evidence. As such, the report will have to proceed without that piece of evidence, which is not good. You want your report to be as full and updated as possible in terms of your pension transfer. So CETVs, do not mess around with them. Get it through your financial advisor, put an LOA on file and don't try to do it yourself unless you are an expert. It's a bit like you wouldn't work on your own Ferrari, so don't work on your own pension transfer. Get it done by a pension transfer specialist. And finally, point number 3, I would say never ever work with a non-FCA regulated financial advisor. If you're working outside of the United Kingdom, your financial advisory firm should also really be FCA regulated if they actually have an idea of staying around over the long term. If they're advising you, a UK resident, on your UK pension asset, which is going into a SIP, all of these are UK pension structures, why would they not be FCA regulated? A company that's not FCA regulated suggests that either they haven't put the time, effort and energy into obtaining an FCA license. There's also much more scrutiny with the FCA. They're one of the most difficult regulators to work with in the world. So I would always really avoid that. In the United Kingdom, it's almost impossible to work with a financial advisor as not FCA regulated. They wouldn't even be a financial advisor. They would just be somebody saying they're a financial advisor. You can always check, is your advisor FCA regulated, by going to the FCA website and you can do a quick search of the advisory firm or even the individual advisor to check what their status is with the FCA. So always avoid working with someone who's non-FCA regulated. Guys, I hope those top 3 tips have been helpful for you on things to avoid with your final salary scheme. If you have any experience or you want to have a conversation with me, drop down below in the description and to go via Calendly. You can also head over to our website, click the contact us button, fill in your information. Please try to leave as much information as possible. If you already have a CETV, feel free to attach it. So in our first free initial consultation, we can make it as valuable for you as possible. Guys, I hope you found today valuable. I look forward to speaking with you soon. And as always, take care with your UK pension assets. Thank you.